Welcome to Inside Northeast Racing. I'm Howard Commander from Lebanon Valley Speedway. We're right in the middle of our show trying to line up the modified feature. It's about 8 o'clock and we got a pretty good crowd for a cold night, and it's starting to drizzle a little bit. Hope we can get the feature in. We'll let you know soon.
Oh, indeed we will, Howard. But first we're going to take a little trip across the Northeast, see some other action that we've got slated to show you here in this segment of Inside Northeast Racing. Taking a quick trip, here's down to the Valley of Speed once again. There's a Hall of Famer from the New York State Stock Car Association, part of the famous Hughes brothers team, Carlton Hughes, overlooking some of the action. Also going to take a trip over to the Thompson International Speedway. Thompson International Speedway hosting the Icebreaker weekend, highlighted by what else? The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. They were all out, all the shiny automobiles, all the super teams were there. There's the number 2 of Todd Zegedy, a former champion, on hand at the Thompson International Speedway. Talk about former champions. Mighty Mike Stefanik with the 22, the 72, piloted by Chuck Hosfeld, one of the Empire State competitors. And here's just a little sense of what's coming up here, what you'll see as part of the coverage from the Icebreaker weekend over at Thompson. Got some new sponsors with us this week. Tennelly Seal Coating coming on board here for this week's segment. Also KR Lettering Design, all sponsoring this week's program. We thank them for their support. Now we're going to take a trip down to the Orange County Fair Speedway, down to the hard clay. Here's a look at the Sportsman feature from last Saturday night down at Orange County. Jimmy Spellmon in the 28 and Frank Venezia in the 27, bringing him down on the front row when they come to the green. Venezia coming down here into turn number 1, exercising the power plant there in the 27 car. Spellman with the 28 going to be awful strong here this evening, though, as they race down. Some good close quarters racing here in the Sportsman. See the number 1 of Tyler Dipple. Of course, we've seen a lot of Tyler here and across the Northeast. He's already been traveling here in the early stages of this 2013 campaign, but the Sportsmen were on track and some great racing here in the Sportsman division down at Middletown. When the checkers flew, it was Spellman picking up the win. Spellman got the victory as he picked up the victory there in the Sportsman, followed across the line by Tyler Dipple. Dipple finished second, and Frank Venezia would round out your top 3. That was the action from the Orange County Fair Speedway on Saturday night in the Sportsman. Again, Jack's Used Race Car Parts and more back with us here, as now we're going to go back over east, head over to the Thompson International Speedway for their Sunoco mod feature, and a little bit of mayhem here in the early stages. Keith Rocco and Woody Pitcat would bring them down to the green flag. Rocco and Pitcat fighting it out up on the front, 2 of the veterans here in the Sunoco mods. They would also do double duty action, race in the Icebreaker itself, the tour event. Here as they come down off turn number 4, Keith Rocco, former national champion, up on the front as he works down into turn number 1. Here comes Woody, going to show them the nose down here as they come down off of turn number 4, and they are side by side when they come off the corner. But when they got down to turn number 1, it was the 88 of Rocco powering around on the outside here as they worked their way off of turn number 2. Rocco on the outside, Pitcat on the inside. And some great side-by-side racing, something that we see quite often over at the Thompson International Speedway. These two would duke it out entire feature long. Pitcat down on the low side. Here's a great crossover move by the 88 of Rocco. Rocco pulling off a textbook move down to the inside. He'll take the inner line as they work their way down into turn number 3. Just make his way by a slower automobile, and now they work off 4, and Rocco once again in charge. But Pitcat, he was going to hang tough. Well, he hung tough, but as they work off of turn 2, around she goes off of turn number 2. Woody Pitcat keeping the car nailed down on the inside, so no contact. But after that, as they say, that was all she wrote, as Keith Rocco would bring him down to the checkers. Rocco did end up posting the victory. Kerry Malone would come home in second spot. Woody Pitcat came back to finish in third with Ryan Priest and Todd Ciravallo rounding out your top 5. Another new sponsor this week, Ray Ohm's Towing and Recovery. Glad to see those folks on board. Now we'll go back to the high banks for some pure stock racing, and this was a beauty. Al Relier going to lead the way down into turn number 1. Relier, the defending champion in this division, a two-time champion at that. As they work up off of turn 2, Dougie Olds in the 73 car takes the lead away from Relier up in the fast lane. Right there on Old's rear bumper is the 21, a James Hatch. J.J. Hatch, a strong competitor there week in, week out, and we saw right from the early stages, J.J. was going to be a man to be contended with. He ducks down to the inside. They've got eyes on trying to make a three-way run down here into turn number 1. Al Relier, your leader, J.J. Hatch rides second, and Doug Olds, your third place running automobile. J.J. Hatch would dog Relier, and then a little wisp of smoke started showing off the 21, and now the smoke gets a little bit heavier. It caught all of our attention. I think it caught Al Relier's attention, but when the inside lane opened up here for Relier, he was going to try and get back to the front, but Hatch in the outside lane, naturally, the fast way around the valley. He takes the number 1 position, and he danced up on the high side for pretty much the rest of the event. The smoke would show, Relier would come back. It's a tenacious battle up on the front of this one. As they worked their way down into turn number 3, a couple of cars both carrying sponsorship from Toma Tire on them. As they worked down through the corner, J.J. Hatch dancing off the high side, completing the pass on Relier, and that was about all she was going to write there. As J.J. Hatch would bring him down here off of turn number 4, you see the hand out the window, the smoke off the backside. J.J. Hatch picking up the victory as he gets win number 1, defeating the defending champion, Al Relier. So it was Hatch your winner, Relier finished second, and Ray Hall made his way up to finish in third. That was the pure stock feature action from down at the Lebanon Valley Speedway. Now we'll take a trip up to the Great Race Place, where it was warm-up day on Sunday. The new surface laid down. One of the things that really needed to be done was to get some cars on the racing surface. Track management had made the commitment. We're going to get cars on the track. We're going to run the track in, see how it works. And it came as everyone pretty much expected, with springtime conditions, a lot of moisture in it. Got a little rough, but the track crews continued to work on it, and they now know what they're up against. And they look forward to straighten it out for our opener at the Albany Saratoga Speedway this coming Friday night. Here's some pro stock action. Dan Older, he was second in points a year ago, the 97 of Older. Here's one of the modified competitors from the Great Race Place, the number 3, the Recovery Sports Grill number 3D of Matty D. He's already been to Victory Lane. He picked up a win at Fonda a couple weeks ago. And here we got to see the Flying Squirrel mount the big block as Rocky Warner brought the modified over for a shakedown cruise. Got a couple comments from Rocky, and he said it was quite an experience with big block power under his foot. Here's the 14G of Brian Gleason. He's moved up to the modified division this year. Gleason also flying the colors of Recovery Sports Grill as he makes his way around. Always a crowd favorite, the third-generation driver out of Duanesburg, Ronnie Johnson, the 816 of Jeff Rockefeller, all on hand, as you can see, dancing up here through some of the rough stuff through the corners. Mark Kislowski with the Morris Auto Group, the Morris Ford-sponsored number 3 car. And that was some of the warm-up action from the Albany Saratoga Speedway. Now we'll take a trip back over to Thompson, back to Thompson International Speedway. This is the Granite State Pro Stock Series. They had their season opener as part of Icebreaker weekend. The Granite State's Pro Stock Series is certainly a well-attended series across the New England states, and we will actually be seeing this series come to the Devil's Bowl Speedway a little closer to us come the month of June. June 14th is the date where the Granite State Pro Stock Series will make their way up to the Fairhaven Oval. But here in this event, it was a hotly contested battle as well, as a couple of competitors going side by side here as they work through. Mike O'Sullivan with the 47 working down on the inside here. Glenn Tyler, another strong competitor here as they work their way through the mid stages of this event. The full-fendered cars over at Thompson, always very entertaining to watch, be it their late model division or the Pro Stock Series, which is not a weekly division. They don't run there every Thursday night, but they do bring in some of the special events, and these Granite State Pro Stock Series certainly entertaining as much here on the Icebreaker weekend. Back under green as they make their way down into turn number 1. Things start to mix up front as they work their way off of turn number 2. A great side-by-side battle. And now one of the guys that has made his way to the front, a veteran campaigner over at Thompson and a crowd favorite, the Mad Dog, George Bissett, works his way up to the front, and certainly to the chagrin of the crowd as far as that went. A very popular driver over at Thompson, George Bissett, taking the number 1 position and driving away here on the front. When the checkers did fly, it was the Mad Dog going to the victory lane ceremonies down here. George Bissett gets the win. Mike O'Sullivan would come home in 2nd spot. Glenn Tyler would finish 3rd. Jake Venata and Jim Banfield would round out your top 5 in the Granite State Pro Stock Series. Welcome aboard to the New York State Stock Car Association, another new sponsor here for the program, and we're happy to have Nisa on hand. Nisa has come forward, and we're going to take a special segment and congratulate the Nisa members, the winners of this past week's activities. Seth Pasella, the first car you saw there. Here's Stephen Kammer, also a winner down at the Orange County Fair Speedway. Jimmy Spellmon, you saw he won the Sportsman feature, and the modified victor, the defending champion, Jerry Higbie. That's all down at Orange County. Then we go to the Lebanon Valley Speedway. There's Jimmy Williams, the winner of the 4-cylinder single cam event. Big Ed Hatch, the driver of the 50 car. Ed Hatch was one of the winners. There's James Hatch, JJ Hatch. He got a win as well in the Pure Stocks. And the 3rd Pure Stock feature, young Stephen La Rochelle, a 2nd-generation driver. No introduction needed there. The Jersey Jet, Brett Hearn, he was the modified feature event winner. And Rob Yetman made a return to his old stomping grounds, a successful one. Congratulations to all the feature winners, the New York State Stock Car Association members.
Hi, I'm Bobby Haynes, official videographer at Lebanon Valley Speedway, and I want to thank you for watching Inside Northeast Racing.
Hello and welcome to Inside Northeast Racing. I'm Mike Warren here with Kenny Tremont at the Lebanon Valley Speedway. Ken, another season of racing here on the high banks. You got to be excited to get going.
Yeah, we are. It's a new season, a lot of high hopes, and you know, we had some trouble last year, but hopefully that's behind us and we can have a good year this year.
Now, last week in the warm-up session, you got the car out on the track. How'd it feel?
Awful, to put it mildly. You know, we had a skip that took us a couple days to find out, but you know, after running it in warm-ups here tonight, it seems to be pretty good. So we got our fingers crossed and hoping for the best.
How'd the car feel in the warm-up session tonight?
Real good, actually. You know, no issues as of the moment, so we're hoping for good things.
Now, what are you looking for this season out of the car? I know you've been struggling a little bit in the past couple of years. What are you feeling like is going to be your ultimate goal?
Well, I mean, our goal is every year to win races, you know, and then if we can win races, then the championship would come along with that. But if we can't win, we want to run 2nd. If we can't run 2nd, we want to run 3rd, and so on. So we're just looking to do as best as we can. Some nights that's 1st, some nights it isn't. So we'll do all that we can do to try to win.
Okay, thank you very much, Ken. Good luck tonight. For Inside Northeast Racing, I'm Mike Warren.
Well, thank you, Mike, and thank you to the King of the Valley. Now we go back down to the Valley and take a look at Saturday night's feature event. It was the 61st annual Lebanon Lid Lifter. Coming down to the green, it was Mike King, the Kingfish, and Kyle Armstrong. Certainly 2 ends of the spectrum as far as the age goes and modified campaigners, but the veteran, Mike King, would lead him down off of turn number 4 and put lap number 1 on the board. Mike King in the 55 car out in front. Kyle Armstrong riding there in 2nd. J.R. Hefner riding in 3rd. Here's a great side-by-side battle. Brian Berger and the 45 of Wayne Jelly going at it. Brett Hearn stalking, and the 34. Yeah, there were 4 of them in action on Saturday night, but that was Andy Becchetti. Becchetti very strong in the early portion of the program, but he would not show up as well in the results column as he was a victim of a DNF. Here's a little bit of jingle down here in turn number 1. Armstrong and Tremont coming together. Some great side-by-side racing. Hey, that's the 9S back there of Matt Shepard. Shepard making a cameo appearance. at the Lebanon Valley Speedway, and we'll see what happens here. He may be a regular. Here's Brett Hearn working up on the outside of J.R. Hefner and working hard up on the outside off turn 2. He will take the position away from J.R. He'll rocket off at turn number 2 and leave J.R. Oh, there is no dust, but he is back there. You got the idea. He is in the wind stream back behind the 20, but J.R. not going to give up by any means. Try and run him back down. Back there in third spot right now is Kenny Tremont as they work their way down here on the front stretch. And whoop, caution out. Caution on lap number 21 for Kyle Sheldon. Kyle Sheldon coming to a stop up in turn 1 after a break in the front end steering geometry there. Here we go off turn number 4. Brett Hearn will mash the gas once again down here into turn number 1. He'll set JR behind. JR just gets up on the high side of the cushion, opens the inside door for the King of the Valley, and the Sand Lake Slingshot now goes to the runner-up position. Kenny Tremont would move the S&S Asphalt Paving number 115 into the runner-up spot, but up front, it was all the Jet, the Jersey Jet. Brett Hearn would come down to checkers first, picks up his 6th opening night win at the Valley of Speed, his 3rd consecutive, and certainly, well, that is something we've seen an awful lot of down at Lebanon Valley. Brett Hearn standing in victory lane, and that was the way they would run here tonight. But Brett Hearn did pick up the victory in the modified main event. Hearn did get the win over Kenny Tremont, with J.R. Hefner finishing 3rd, Matt Shepard and Brian Berger rounding out the top 5. Back down to the hard clay as we get ready to go racing modified style down at Middletown now. Jerry Higbie would lead the field down off of turn number 4. Jerry Higbie and Billy Vandenwegen as they come off of turn number 2. Billy V actually pulling out ahead of Jerry Higbie there in the early going. They work their way down here. Here's some action, side-by-side action between Bob McGannon and the 6 of Jackie Brown Jr. Jackie Brown working on the inside, getting the best of McGannon there as they came off the corner. Some more side-by-side racing, some great racing action on the hard clay. A little bit different configuration of the corners down there. Got a lot of people talking after opening night. A little wider racing surface. There's a 3-wide blast off of turn number 2 as they work their way down. Hey, there's Bobby Varon. Varon getting his... well, getting comfortable with his new Saturday night home there in the Petruska number 66 car. Back to green flag action. They come down here in front as they make their way down, working up into the corner. Green flag back underway. Some great racing back through the pack. But as they work their way down the back chute, they work their way into turn number 3. Here's a side-by-side battle once again as they work their way down in through the corner. Off turn 4, they'll make their way down in front, and taking a look back through the pack, things start to settle out here in the late going. Here is Varon working the inside of McGannon again. They'll go side to side off the corner, but McGannon will bounce it off the wall here, and that, well, it takes a great run by Bob McGannon out for the evening. McGannon then goes by the wayside. He will drop out of the event. Varon would continue on, had a fine top 10 run. Here's where it came down to the final stages, and the defending champion, Jerry Higbie, would take over the number 1 position. Higbie going to the front. Here's, take a look at Tim Hindley. Hindley from 4th to 3rd to 2nd as he rockets off at turn number 2. Hindley probably one of the most exciting guys to watch down at the Orange County Fair Speedway, and he did not let anybody down on opening night. Here they come down off of turn number 4. Your leader up into turn 1 already, Jerry Higbie, starting to pull away. As they come down to checkers, Higbie rolls off at turn 4. First one to see the double checkers in the air. Jerry Higbie picked up the victory. Tim Hindley would come home 2nd. Billy V was 3rd. Jackie Brown would finish in 4th spot, and Mike Kolka would round out the top 5. Little family celebration there as we get ready to go to victory lane. But Jerry greeted down there, of course, the Higbie brothers, always very prominent down there at the Orange County Fair Speedway, and that smile says it all for the defending champion, Jerry Higbie. Back over to the Thompson International Speedway and the headline event. Of course, that was the 150-lap event for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. The Modified Tour, it is the oldest NASCAR division. And when the green flag flew, Rowan Pennick would come from the outside front row with the number 93 car. Pennick takes the number 1 position down to turn number 1, but quickly flexing his muscles, Mighty Mike. Mike Stefanik, searching for his 3rd Icebreaker win. He's had 14 victories at the Thompson Speedway under his belt coming into Sunday afternoon. There's Stefanik up on the front, going back to green. Now we start to take pit stops through, so things get shaken up a little bit up on the front of this one as they work their way down off of turn number 2 now. Things settling back here. We got some 3-wide racing down off the corner as Ronnie Silk ducks down to the inside. Donnie Leah there with the 4 car as they work their way down through the corner. There's Todd Zegedy with the number 2, Ronnie Silk with the number 6. These 2 guys went right down to the wire a couple of years ago for the championship. And here under caution, getting ready to go back to green once again. Pennick on the outside, the 2 of Zegedy on the inside. Chuck Hosfeld, we talked about him earlier, one of the Empire State competitors. Hosfeld, always a strong runner whenever he pulls into one of the area speedways. He'll restart from 3rd as we get ready to go back to green. Pennick on the outside and looking for the green. He will pull away and he'll be your new leader when they go down into turn number 1. Pennick bringing him back up here to the front as the field comes by. Some great racing action on what was a pretty nice day. We got a multi-car spin down here between turns 1 and 2. 2 cars there, another 3. Speaking of Empire State competitors, the 88 up on the outside. That was Brian Chu from New York State. As we get ready to go back to green, Pennick brought him down to turn 1, but once again, Stefanik flexing his muscles, and Mighty Mike would go to the number 1 position. Pennick riding there in the runner-up position as they work their way down off of turn number 2. When they finish, it was Mike Stefanik picking up his 3rd Icebreaker victory, his 15th overall win at Thompson. Rowan Pennick would finish 2nd. Ryan Priest would come across the line in 3rd. Ronnie Silk finished 4th, and TC, Teddy Christopher, rounded out your top 5. Back to the high banks, this time Pro Stock style, as the final event on the schedule on Saturday night. We had a little bit of misting rain through the modified main event, and you can see the racetrack a little bit shiny when they took the green. Well, the green flag did fly and the Pro Stocks were ready to go. They're on their way down the backstretch here, coming around to put lap number 1 on the board as they make their way down off of turn number 4. It is Robbie Speed in control. Riding back there in 2nd spot is the Wild Twing, Frank Twing, making his return. Once again, another driver who has turned many laps at Lebanon Valley over the years. Speaking of drivers coming back, there's Rob Yetman with the number 7 car, the defending champion, Chad Jezio, down to the inside. And around goes Jay Casey. Jay Casey going around with the 324 there off of turn number 4. He comes to rest down on the inside. Going back to green, Robbie Speed out front. Rob Yetman riding in 2nd. Frank Twing right there with him as it's a 3-car battle down off the corner. Speed on the outside of Yetman. They were door to door when they came down across the line. Speed's got a nose out front. Yetman's got the power to the ground first off turn number 2. And Rob Yetman takes the lead back away. Robbie Speed comes up. I got you. Honk, honk. As they make their way down into turn number 3. Up the bank goes Yetman, the inside open, but Robbie Speed just can't keep it down there. That allowed Twing down to the inside of him. Here's Robbie Speed and the 25 of Jezio, and hang on. Off of turn 4, around goes the 25 of Jezio, and that would bring another caution out here late in the, just coming down towards the mid part of the event. Well, mid part of the event, 10 laps were in, 10 laps remain, and you see it in the lights. The rains started coming down a little heavier. Yellow and checkers flew simultaneously, and Rob Yetman would pick up the victory. That, much like Brett Hearn, his 6th opening night victory at the Lebanon Valley Speedway. So Yetman picking up win number 6 on opening night there at the Valley of Speed. Yetman gets the victory. There's Rob Yetman in victory lane. Yetman looking up to the skies as the rains come down. He picks up the victory. Yetman gets the win over Frank Twing. Robbie Speed would finish third. Jay Corbin finished fourth. Jay Casey rounded out the top five. Rob's parents were on hand, all smiles down there in Victory Lane. That your Pro Stock feature from the Lebanon Valley Speedway. Back down to Middletown, the Orange County Fair Speedway, where it was street stock action as they make their way down off of turn number 4. Looking to go green, the early leader would be the defending champion, Charlie Donald. Donald leads the way down into turn number 1. Donald takes the number 1 position away here in the early go-round as the street stocks start to make their way down the backstretch. Cars together down in turn 3. Street stock yellow out on the raceway right now. So gather them back up. Re-rack, restack, bring them back to green, and it is Donald once again showing the way. Here's a car on the move up on the outside. That's the 19 of Emerson Cargain. Cargain trying to make tracks up on the outside of Stephen Kammer's number 55. A good side-by-side battle back there. Keep those gentlemen in mind because Kammer, he was the man to beat. Kammer trying to run down Donald as they make their way down to turn 1. Got a little mishap here, a little, well, he sure looked good pulling into the Speedway. Well, little battle scars here tonight. Here's Donald back on the green. Here's Kammer up on the outside. Kammer going to take the outside lane down into turn number 1. He'll hold it to the pin as they make their way through the corner. The 32. Now, your second place car, Charlie Donald, backslides as Stephen Kammer quickly puts about 8 car lengths between the two. Good side-by-side battle back there for third spot. Finds Cargain up on the outside. Cargain trying to make an advance here as well as he moves up into third position, taking the outside lane. Here's the 55 of Kammer down across the checkers. Kammer would get the victory. Steve Kammer, your winner. There he is, making his way out of the car. Charlie Donald would finish second. Emerson Cargain would finish third. Jim Mahar was fourth, and Tim Brown rounded out your top 5. That was your... You've been watching Inside Northeast Racing, sponsored by Tennelly Seal Coating, Bobco Video, the New York State Stock Car Association, and Rayome's Towing and Recovery. KR Lettering and Design. Northeast Racing Videos. Inside Northeast Racing is a Northeast Racing Videos production in association with Bobco Video and Metro Media Productions. Your 24/7 racing connection on the World Wide Web. Until next week, this is Dan Martin saying see ya.